Friends, in this class, you will learn a new lesson which is titled as The Kid, written by Charlie Chaplin. And this man is very well known to almost everybody, those who are a little bit familiar with film industry, Hollywood movies, and those who are familiar to the kind of act that we perform without uttering a single word. So friends, the title of the lesson is The Kid, written by Charles Chaplin. And first of all, as usual, you will have an introduction so that you will come across the kind of content which is going to be processed in this lesson. The Kid is an interesting chapter from Chaplin's own story that is called the life story actually. And his life story is titled as My Autobiography. I hope you know the difference between biography and autobiography. As far as biography is concerned, a person who has the ability of writing, and if at all he or she is going to write about someone else's life, that kind of writing is called biography. And if at all an individual who is a remarkable personality in the society has done something remarkable in different arenas of life, and if at all he or she writes about his own life, that is called autobiography. And here, the present lesson titled as The Kid is taken from Charles Chaplin's own life story titled as My Autobiography. Actually, he wrote a new idea of a movie that he struck him once. It is a story of the tramp or a window mender, I would say, and the little kid. The little tramp unwillingly takes in an abandoned baby. He quickly softens up to the boy, and after a few years, they make their living together as a team. See now, if you go through this lesson, you will realize that it is all about a man who has adopted an abandoned baby. And I think the title of the lesson is quite apt and suggestive enough that this is all about the kid. Actually, Charles Chaplin got an idea, and he got a new idea of a movie that he wanted to direct and produce. And the story was all about the tramp, or you can call it window mender, and a little kid who is accompanied by the window mender. So actually the story mainly concentrates on the acts of these two. The little tramp unwillingly takes in an abandoned baby, and he quickly softens up to the boy, and later, a few years, of course, after a few years, they make their living together as a team. So whatever has happened, it was just a coincidence. Nothing was done by the window mender intentionally or willingly. And now he happened to be the person who possessed the child. And now, in the course of time, he is trying to, bring up the child as he could really do. But now the child is grown up. And both of them started living together and working together as well. They go around the streets. The kid, see here now what actually happens. The kid breaking windows and the tramp coming by and mending them. See the kind of team that they have developed. And it was definitely a brisk business for them to make money. First, this child will roam here and there in the streets. He will break the windows, and followed by the man, and he will try to mend the windows, and of course, he is charging for his services. He quickly softens up to the boy, and after a few years, they make their living together as a team. They go around the streets, the kid breaking windows and the tramp coming by and mending them. The kid and the tramp live together, have all sorts of adventures. So this is how these two continued to live together, and this boy used to break the windows and the man used to mend the windows, and of course he was charging for all these services. And there is a series of adventures, I would say, in the course of their life. But what happens one day? The child falls ill, and the social services try to take him away. The film has imitable charm. Chaplin has written how he made the discovery of the kid in Jackie Coogan. And this was Charles Chaplin's first full-length movie. It is regarded as one of his masterpieces. Already I told you that Charles Chaplin had an idea in mind of making a movie, and that too, a full-length movie. But what should be the central idea? What kind of character he was going to develop? Actually, nothing was decided. But in a short period of time, he could compose his idea and decided that he would go with a couple in the sense, a man, a middle-aged man, and a little boy. The idea in the mind of Charles Chaplin was that the man who is looking after the abandoned baby is a tramp, means a window mender. And as the child is being grown up under his aegis, the child will become so naughty and he will keep breaking the windows of different people in different streets, and followed by the tramp, that is the window mender, will keep moving on the same streets, finding whether any mending work is there for him, and that way he used to earn money. So the idea was really very interesting, that struck the mind of Charles Chaplin also. And finally he decided that he would go with a full-length movie based on the idea. And once this movie was released, it was a super hit. And even today, this movie is considered to be as one of the masterpieces of Charles Chaplin. And one more outcome that we find from this movie is an actor, I would say, named Jackie Coogan. The role of that kid was played by Jackie Coogan, and in a very shorter period of time, this Jackie Coogan became one of the very famous artists of the industry. And this is how this introduction of this lesson has been presented over here. Now, I'll do one thing. I'll talk about the author in brief. I hope you know Charles Chaplin was titled as Sir also, and that is one of the prestigious civil honors offered by or given by British government. And the author of this lesson is Sir Charles Spencer Chaplin, born in 1889 and died in 1978. Of course, he had a sprawling life. He was born in London, England, that is Great Britain today. He was a British actor who became one of the biggest stars of the 20th century silent film era. Already I told that there are a very few very good actors, those who can communicate without uttering a single word. And I think Sir Charles Spencer Chaplin is or the best British actor who became one of the biggest stars of the 20th century, more particularly that of silent film era. Charlie was thrown on his own resources before he reached the age of 10 due to the early death of his father and the illness of his mother. See, he did not have anything, especially in the film industry, that he could continue as if a patrimony. Whatever he is today as one of the biggest stars of the silent film era in the 20th century, that he achieved on his own. He was thrown on his own resources before he reached at the age of 10. And that all happened because of the early death of his father and the continuous illness of his mother. When he was about 12, he got his first chance to act in a movie or a film. And Chaplin started his career as a comedian in vaudeville, which eventually took him to the United States in 1910. He became an immediate hit there. His career spread over more than 75 years. See, already I told you, he also got a very sprawling life, no doubt. He lived long. But if at all you see his career as an artist, as an actor, that he started quite early as a child, it continued for more than 75 years of his life. In fact, he got the first opportunity at the age of 12. And of course, his performance as a child artist was appreciated and admired by the audience. And in a very short period of time, he became one of the very successful artists. Later, he got another opportunity in 1910 when he was taken away to the United States of America. And then he continued to do so as a comedian. And then he experienced a grand success of his life. As I said, he became an immediate hit there. His career spread over more than 75 years. His first feature film was The Kid, which was released in 1921, followed by A Woman of Paris, released in 1923, The Gold Rush, released in 1925, and The Circus, released in 1928. These are some of the very famous, renowned contributions by Charles Spencer Chaplin. Beyond that, you have some of his other productions as well. Like he produced movies like City Lights, released in 1931, and The Modern Times, released in 1936. See, these two movies are also, super hit, I would say. The first one, that is The City Lights, released in 1931, and The Modern Times, and this movie was released in 1936. Actually, Charlie Chaplin was a multi-dimensional personality. Chaplin wrote scripts, produced movies, directed the movies, edited the content of the developed movies, acted as an actor, and all dimensions of movie making have been adopted and successfully performed by Charlie Chaplin. If you just go further, as far as his life is concerned, you will realize that in 1972, as a part of appreciation of his great work, Chaplin received an honorary Academy Award as well. So throughout the world, he is highly reputed as a comedian, and of course, without uttering a single word, he could convey message very comfortably, and all his acts, whether he acted as an actor or scripted the content or produced or directed the movies, in all arenas of movie making, he was really a great success. So this is the short introduction of the author of this particular lesson, or the extract, I would say, which has been taken up from his life story titled as My Autobiography. So friends, my humble request to all of you, please watch some of the comic episodes of Charles Chaplin. They are easily available on YouTube channel. You simply search Charles Chaplin. You will get a big series of his comic acts. And if at all you want to watch this one also, that is The Kid, this is also available over there. This movie is also available over there. So I want you to watch some of the acts of Charles Chaplin, and then you will properly come to know that how to really communicate even uttering a single word. So this is all really very interesting, and I'm also very fond of Charles Chaplin as an actor, and you will also admire and appreciate the different acts which are being performed by Charles Chaplin over here in different movies that he produced, directed, edited, and scripted as well. So let us go through the lesson now. So as I said, this particular lesson is an extract taken from Charles Chaplin's autobiography, you would say, or life story, you would say, titled as My Autobiography. And this lesson is mainly focusing on the creation of a movie called The Kid. And of course, how this movie was created, how Jackie Coogan was shortlisted as an actor and performed the role of this small kid, as far as this, uh, father, not the father, but the man and the kid is concerned, the window mender, the tramp, and this boy who is very naughty and continue to keep breaking the windows of the people on different streets, and followed by the move of this man who continues to mend the windows and make money out of his services. So let us look at this particular lesson as an interesting part of this movie making, and definitely you will come to know about. So here I go with The Kid, written by Charles Chaplin. After Sunny Side, I was at my wits' end for an idea. It was a relief in this state of despair to go to Orpheum. Okay, Orpheum. I was at my wits' end for an idea. It was a relief in this state of despair to go to the Orpheum for distraction. And in this state of mind, I saw an eccentric dancer, nothing extraordinary. But at the finish of his act, he brought out his little boy, an infant of 4, to take a bow with him. After bowing with his father, he suddenly broke into a few amusing steps, then looked knowingly at the audience, waved to them, and ran off. The audience went into an uproar, so that the child was made to come on again, this time doing a quite different dance. It could have been obnoxious in another child. But Jackie Coogan was charming, and the audience thoroughly enjoyed it. Whatever he did, the little fellow had an engaging personality. See how effectively the lesson begins over here. The kind of introduction of the child artist Jackie Coogan is very nicely done by Charles Chaplin over here in his autobiography. He said that several ideas were, creating a confusion in the mind of Charles Chaplin when he was thinking of developing a movie. But after Sunnyside, he was at his wits' end for an idea and felt a kind of relief in that state of despair to go to Orpheum for distraction. In that state of mind, Charles Chaplin saw an eccentric dancer who was performing along with his father. Actually, the father was an artist. He was an actor. But after finishing the job, towards the end of the performance, the child used to accompany his father and bowing with his father in front of the audience. But after bowing in front of the audience, the child used to suddenly broke out into a few amusing steps. And that is all happened, but the audience recognized the talent of the child, and there was an uproar among the audience also, of course, a kind of appreciation to the child, and he was requested to be brought again and again on the stage. But for every time, the child used to perform a different act, and that was highly appreciated and admired by the audience. And this is how our author, that is Charles Chaplin, gives an introduction, that of Jackie Coogan, who was a charming boy, and of course, he was constantly loved by the audience. Jackie Coogan was charming, and the audience thoroughly enjoyed the different performances that he was doing on the stage. Whatever he did, the little fellow had an engaging personality. See? As far as an individual is concerned, whether a small child, a little boy, or a grown-up person, or whosoever, the nature blesses everyone with some or the other special features. And by God's grace, this boy, that is Jackie Coogan, first of all, he was really very charming. Audience always enjoyed his performances. And beyond that, what your author says is, Jackie Coogan had an engaging personality. Once you just come across such kind of personality, you never forget the person. So such kind of people are a very few around us. Those who have a very deep impression on your mind of their own personality and the different facets of their personality. And this boy, that is Jackie Coogan, has really created a deep impression on the mind of the audience. I did not think of him again until a week later, when I sat on the open stage with our stock company, still struggling to get an idea for the next picture. In those days, I would often sit before theater because their presence and reactions were a stimulus. That day was bogged down and listless, and in spite of their polite smiles, I know my efforts were paying. My mind wandered, and I talked about the acts I had seen playing at the Orpheum and bowed the little boy, Jackie Coogan, who came on and bowed with his father. See, this is the second paragraph of this lesson, and that is going to provide you some more inputs about the restlessness of this author, that is Charles Chaplin. In fact, he could not even finalize the kind of idea for his another movie or the next movie. And Charles Chaplin did not even think of him again almost for a week or so. But after a week, he could not even get rid of the idea of the boy. That is what has happened. Charles Chaplin sat on the open stage with his stock company. In fact, he was still struggling to get a new idea for another movie that he wanted to make. And if you see the fact, in those days, he would often sit before the theater because their presence and the reactions were a stimulus. Charles Chaplin personally monitored the reactions of the audience, and based on the demands of the audience, he used to provide them the inputs in the movies. That day was bogged down and the listless, and in spite of their polite smiles, I knew my efforts were taken. My mind wandered, and I talked about the acts I had seen playing at the Orpheum and about the little boy, Jackie Coogan, who came on and bowed with his father. See now, consistently he kept on thinking about it. Because Charles Chaplin's mind was wandering in the sense he was a little bit restless. He was anxious. He was not getting a proper idea to be cherished in the movie. But again and again, what was happening, he was getting the idea of Jackie Coogan, the boy who always came to the stage at the end and bowed with his father in front of the audience and did some actions on the stage which were highly appreciated by the audience. So now he started focusing more and more on Jackie Coogan than on any other idea or any other character or any other artist also. So now let us see what actually happens in the subsequent part of this lesson. So you need to wait for some time. But before I conclude for the day, I request all of you to at least watch a movie or a short film on Charles Chaplin and the kind of movies that he has created, which are called, mute movies. Without uttering a single word, your Charles Chaplin conveys a lot, and that is the power of action, right? So you need to watch that. You will definitely enjoy. And tomorrow, I will ask you all whether you people have really watched at least one act of Charles Chaplin. Okay, so that's all from my end for the day, and I'll continue with the lesson in the next class. Thank you very much.